Meghan thought Harry was away for charity. He was actually at Highgrove, signing a secret return deal with King Charles. When she found out, she didn't shout. She cried. The man who promised never to go back just did. And now everything they built together is on the edge. Meghan's heartbreak, the moment she found out. Meghan Markle believed Prince Harry was on a routine charity trip. That's what he told her. But hours passed and something felt off. So she checked his location, and what she saw crushed her. He was at Highgrove. Not at an event, not doing charity work, he was with King Charles. When Harry returned home, Meghan didn't scream. She didn't even raise her voice. She just looked at him, tears filling her eyes, and asked, "Why did you lie to me?" What followed was a confession she never saw coming. The secret meeting, the unexpected legal proposal, and the document he had already signed. Harry told her everything. For Meghan, this wasn't about paperwork. This was about trust, about a promise they had built their entire new life on. No going back. She had defended him, left the country with him, and endured public torment by his side. And now, without a word, he had reconnected with the very system that tried to destroy them. He didn't just sign something. He broke something, one close friend said quietly. And Meghan, once again, was left alone to pick up the emotional pieces. The return agreement, what Harry really signed. The document was called the Highgrove Accord, quiet, legal, and life-altering. Without public announcement, Prince Harry had signed a confidential agreement orchestrated by King Charles, one that made him legally domiciled in the UK again. The move wasn't symbolic. It reinstated Harry's eligibility as Counselor of State, a constitutional position reserved for senior royals who can act on behalf of the monarch. Since Prince Andrew was now completely removed, and only Prince William remained active, Charles needed another qualified royal. That left one name on paper: Harry. Rather than push through a messy parliamentary removal or face political scrutiny, Charles used this quiet legal loophole, and Harry agreed. The return agreement doesn't require Harry to perform public duties or move back full-time, but it legally binds him to the monarchy's machinery again. It reopens links that Meghan believed were severed forever. To the world, nothing has changed. No press release, no photo ops. But behind closed doors, everything shifted. It was the cleanest return no one saw, one insider said. And the messiest one Meghan couldn't stop. The paper Harry signed may be invisible to the public, but to Meghan, it's a flashing betrayal she can't unsee. Why Charles needed Harry back urgently. By late 2025, King Charles faced a quiet crisis. With Prince Andrew stripped of all honors and only Prince William left as an active Counselor of State, the monarchy's operational stability was at risk. The law requires 2 eligible royals to serve as counselors, people who can legally act for the sovereign if needed. But Charles had just one. He couldn't use Andrew. He couldn't rewrite the law without drawing public fire. That left him with one option: bring Harry back, quietly. And so, Charles made his move. A discreet legal offer, a private meeting at Highgrove, a signature that would give the crown what it needed without fanfare. Harry's re-entry wasn't about forgiveness. It was about function. A calculated step to avoid embarrassment, headlines, or constitutional gridlock. It wasn't love, it was necessity, one aide said. But in doing so, Charles crossed a line Meghan thought was settled. The monarchy didn't just pull Harry back, it dragged him into a world they both had run from, and did it without her knowledge. Now, the cost wasn't just royal. It was deeply personal. Meghan's deeper wound. History repeats itself. For Meghan, Harry's secrecy hit like déjà vu. Years earlier, when her own father went to the press, begged for contact, then spiraled into public scandal, she drew a hard line. No contact, no exceptions, not even when he became ill. That boundary had protected her sanity. It cost her a parent, but it gave her peace. Now, Harry had done the very thing she once swore they'd never do: reopen the door to toxicity for royal convenience. And he did it alone. To Meghan, this wasn't about institutions or legal roles. This was about safety, trust, survival. She had stayed silent while Harry visited the UK before. She had supported earlier attempts at family dialogue. But this? A secret deal. A signature. A legal tie to the system that isolated her. It was different. She didn't lose trust in the monarchy, said a source close to her. She lost trust in him. The pain wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. Because Meghan didn't just feel blindsided by a piece of paper. She felt abandoned by the one person who promised he'd never let it happen again. And this time, the tears came quietly, because she knew the line had been crossed. Harry's silent reason, a father's burden. Prince Harry knew signing the Highgrove Accord would devastate Meghan, but he did it anyway. Not for the monarchy, not for Charles, but for his children. With Frogmore Cottage gone, police protection denied, and their UK ties vanishing, Harry saw the deal as leverage, a way to keep Archie and Lilibet legally connected to Britain. The signature wasn't about returning to duty. It was about preserving their options. He didn't do it for the crown. He did it for the kids, said one insider. But Harry made the choice alone, and now that decision threatens everything he built with Meghan. William's outrage, the heir left in the dark. Prince William wasn't told about the deal. He found out after it was signed. For him, it wasn't just about being bypassed. It was a betrayal. He had held the monarchy steady while Harry attacked it from abroad. And now Charles had pulled Harry back in, without warning. "You kept me in the dark," William reportedly said. Behind palace doors, tensions exploded, and so did the brotherly divide. Charles's hidden pain. A father fighting time. King Charles didn't sign off on the Highgrove Accord just as a sovereign protecting his institution. He did it as a father watching time slip away. He'd spent years watching his sons grow colder, the space between them widening with each headline, each silence, each unsent message. And he knew that one day, the chance to fix it might simply disappear. That fear echoed through his 2025 Christmas speech, where he called for healing, unity, and continuity. Most assumed it was ceremonial language, but to Charles, those words were painfully personal. Bringing Harry back into the royal framework, quietly, legally, wasn't about control. It was about keeping a door open, even if no one walked through it. "This isn't about duty," Charles reportedly told aides. "It's about not letting go." But he also knew what it would cost. William's fury, Meghan's devastation, and potential public fallout if the truth surfaced. Still, Charles moved forward. Because for him, reconciliation required presence. And if he didn't act now, he feared the story of his family would end with estrangement, not resolution. A king chose pain for the smallest chance of peace. The marriage strain. What happens now for Meghan and Harry? The ink had barely dried on the Highgrove Accord when the real damage began at home. Meghan wasn't just shocked. She was shattered. The man she had defended, moved across oceans with, raised a family with, had made a life-altering decision without her. The deal itself wasn't the issue. It was the secrecy, the betrayal of a shared promise. Never go back. Never look back. Conversations that once flowed became short. Questions went unanswered. Nights turned quiet. The house wasn't angry. It was tense, uncertain, emotionally loaded. "He's slipping back into a world she escaped," said a close friend of Meghan's. "And she doesn't know how to stop it." Her public appearances dropped sharply. When she did attend events, her smiles looked hollow. The press noticed. Friends noticed. And Harry? He noticed too. Behind the scenes, their arguments weren't about royal titles or legal clauses. They were about trust. About whether the man who had once walked away from everything for love was now slowly drifting back to the life that nearly broke her. The hardest question came quietly one night, after hours of silence. "Can our bond survive a signature he didn't even tell me about?" And neither of them had the answer. The palace's calculated silence. No statement, no photos, no confirmation. Just a quiet, deliberate leak. Prince Harry had been spotted at Highgrove. It wasn't a staged appearance or a media event. Just a shadow of a visit, caught by a long lens. But that was exactly how the palace wanted it. Buckingham Palace didn't confirm it. They didn't deny it either. Their strategy was clear. Say nothing and let the noise speak louder. Inside the palace, senior courtiers believed that silence would protect King Charles from scrutiny. If Meghan and Harry spoke up first, they'd look defensive. If they stayed silent, the pressure would mount. Either way, the crown remained untouched. "The less we say, the more they reveal," one longtime aide reportedly said. There was no need for announcements. The deal had already been made. The Highgrove Accord was signed, sealed, and buried under layers of privacy. But this wasn't just silence. It was a trap. Carefully staged, ruthlessly timed. A move in a much longer game, where public perception, family emotion, and institutional survival were all on the line. The monarchy didn't need to speak. It just needed Harry's presence to say everything. And behind the headlines, Meghan stood frozen, powerless to stop the narrative slipping away. The long-term fallout. What this means for the monarchy. Prince Harry is back in the system, but it's not the return anyone imagined. He didn't walk through the palace gates. He didn't resume public duties. But legally, structurally, he's reconnected to the monarchy through the quiet force of the Highgrove Accord. And now, behind closed doors, the consequences are unraveling. Meghan feels blindsided, her emotional trust in Harry deeply shaken. To her, the entire deal feels like a return to the very life they escaped. The institution that left her exposed, isolated, and broken. William, on the other hand, feels deceived, cut out of the decision, reduced to a bystander in the kingdom he's been groomed to inherit. His resentment isn't just toward Harry now. It's aimed at their father, too. And Charles? He stands somewhere in the middle. He brought Harry back for duty. But in doing so, he may have lost both sons. "This isn't peace," a senior palace figure whispered. "It's a quiet war." Yes, the monarchy survives. The wheels keep turning, the press cycles move forward. But underneath it all, beneath the formality, the strategy, and the crowns, something fragile is breaking. What looked like a return may be the start of something else entirely. Not a reunion, a reckoning. And the world? Still watching, waiting, wondering what comes next. Prince Harry is tied to the monarchy again, not by duty but by signature. And Meghan, blindsided and heartbroken, is left questioning the very foundation of their life together. William feels betrayed. Charles gambled on reconciliation, and now the family stands in quiet chaos. The public sees smiles, but behind closed doors, it's cold silence and unanswered questions. Was this a step toward healing, or the first crack in a royal marriage once seen as unbreakable? The world is watching closely. And Meghan? She's not just shedding tears. She's wondering if this time she's been left behind.